This project is a little yarn mini hat. For this project, you'll need a paper towel or toilet paper tube, yarn, and a pair of scissors. I also like to have a piece of cardboard that I can cut to be a template, and I'll explain that in just a second. So you are going to need about 50 pieces of yarn that are about a foot long each. The way that I cut these really simply is to have a template that's about half that length. That way, when I wrap my yarn around and cut that end, each piece will be 12 inches long. So I'm just going to hold my yarn on one end and wrap my yarn around 50 times. I have one that I already did. So it's important that you end your yarn opposite where you started your yarn. So they're at that same end there. And then I'm going to clip off my extra yarn. It's also really important that as you wrap your yarn around, you're not pulling it too tightly because I don't want my yarn to be stretched. Okay, then I'm going to slip my scissors inside along that edge and start cutting. This is a little bit tough. So depending on your scissors, you might need to just make little snips to cut one strand at a time. The sharper your scissors, the easier that part will be. All right, now we have 50 pieces of yarn that are about the same length, 12 inches long. Then we're going to need a slice of our toilet paper or paper towel tube. So you can kind of smoosh it flat a little bit. And we're going to cut about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So because we kind of smashed it to cut it, it's got kind of a ovally shape, but we can push that back flat so it's back to being a circle. All right, now each piece of yarn we're going to loop about in half, put that loop through our ring, and pull the tails through that loop. And we want those to match up. So my first one here, one length is a little bit longer than the other. So I'm just going to kind of tug at those until they are even at the other end. And again. So you want to keep doing this the same way for each piece. Loop through, pull your tails through that loop, and pull tight. All right, let's do it again. The loop through, and pull your tails through. Once you have the loops going all the way around, you can kind of adjust them a little, make sure that you can't see any of that paper tube poking through. And then you're going to take all these ends and push them through the inside. It's going to look kind of weird at first, but we're going to push all those tails in through and pull them out the other side. And kind of comb through with your fingers to make sure that they are all through and laying smooth. And by doing that, that's going to give us this kind of folded band for our hat. All right, so then we are going to take another piece of the yarn. I'm still just making sure all my pieces are combed through. I want it all nice and flat. Okay, then I'm gonna wrap a piece of yarn around the top of this. So I'm leaving about 1.5 to 2 inches at the top there. And I'm gonna tie this really tight, as tight as I can, and make a double knot. So this is creating our little pom-pom. I'm gonna take those ends of that knot that I just made and pull those up in with the top of this pom-pom, and I'm gonna cut all of them off so that they're even. And then you can adjust how much pom-pom poof you want, how long you want it. You can just kind of shape that a little bit with your scissors until you get your pom-pom on the top the way that you want it. To make this into something you can hang, I take another piece of yarn and thread it through the inside and create a little hanger out of that. There you have it.